Welcome to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Today we get the lowdown on the Ex Aegis debut album and speak to vocalist Jude Morgan. Let's check it out. No, you don't. You shouldn't stop talking. I think a podcast works better when you actually talk. I'm almost certain that's the way it works.
It's an element of a podcast.
Of all the elements of the podcast, I feel like that's one of the crucial ones.
I know, but I was giving all of my witty banter to the unrecorded mic. What you gonna do?
That is very, 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 very valid of you, I have to say.
I know. So I saved it, but I think, I don't have to save it anymore.
So the one thing I would say, though, is that I think we should all be relatively indifferent to the life and death of any kind of royal family at all. And yet Judith comes to us with like much to say about
well, I don't know. It's not that I'm not indifferent. It's just that, like, it's trash. I mean, the queen
Are you
held
saying
on.
the queen is trash?
No, she held on for so long just so that her trashy son couldn't be king. Like, I know that's why she tried not to die.
That's
like,
a good
do you
reason.
see him? He looks older than her.
Yeah.
He's going to abdicate.
And she's dead. Why would he abdicate? He's held on for this long.
It's responsibility.
I should
want the responsibility, and the British people aren't going to accept him as a ruler. They want Prince William.
I have to point out that we should
Prince
not
William
care
is
about
an
any
asshole
of this.
too.
We should not
But
have
I don't.
any concern at all.
But see, like, that's the thing.
Our ancestors fought a very long, bloody war, so we didn't have to care about the British monarchy.
I don't think my ancestors did, but I'm pretty sure I'm more recent.
I'm actually more recent than that too. I'm gonna claim them as mine.
I don't claim
my people were probably still in Scotland and Germany at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, my ancestors that was cold and cloudy.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Same. For sure.
Seattle, right? Mostly from Seattle.
No, they had musical talent.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Ooh,
I should point out two things. Queensryche is from Seattle.
Oh.
Hart is from Seattle.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix is from Seattle.
Okay, no, I'm cool with it.
And I'll throw it out there. I don't care. Alice in Chains is from Seattle.
We can't
Alice in Chains is great,
we
but
can't
they
just
still
fault Seattle for Nirvana.
Well, I was actually thinking more Eddie Vedder. He's from
that
Southern
too.
California, though.
Yeah.
Oh, he is?
So
Well, Southern California could be
a
kicked off the map
He's a poser
easy.
in all the ways.
A transplant,
I can't believe it,
yes.
He was
All
a
right.
total poser. He's a freaking Orange County grunge guy. That's so lame.
Yeah, right. Everything about that.
He probably auditioned for Tom Araya's part in Slayer and didn't get the gig. And he's like, I'll show you. I'll
know
destroy
what?
metal altogether.
He said,
He said,
All right, before this goes any further, I should stop and say welcome to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Scott and Ryan. And today with...
Hey, I'm Jude. What's up, y'all?
yeah.
Hey, Jude.
Hey. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, well...
Damn, did I cut you off?
No.
You're going there? I do that all the time. I steal your thunder, man. I'm so sorry.
No, that's what
Guess what, you guys? It's not new. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, cool, got it. All right, so this week we have Judith
guest.
Morgan, the talented Judith Morgan, with us, and why don't you tell all of our listener all about yourself?
Oh, God. In 30 seconds or less. No. Well, the way that I know these guys is they got me to record vocals on their freaking stellar album that it's in my... You guys have talked about that, I'm sure.
I would probably... put it another way, on our stellar
Yes,
album.
I would say it's your album.
Oh, well, I know.
too.
I'm here now, too. That's true.
Yes.
But, I mean, as far as the songwriting goes and the freaking, just the unit that it is, that was already created. So I came in and I just threw it, and it was really
You know what,
fun.
though? It couldn't have hit you, though.
Yes, there's no just about it.
Yeah.
Yes,
You can have a great idea.
My ego is just like...
They wouldn't be songs without your contribution.
Nope. And they wouldn't be great without your contribution either.
Goddamn straight.
Well, it's been so
I'm
much
swearing
fun.
again.
Well, I mean,
You
Damn
just
it.
said-
God it's a victimless crime. You know what I mean? It's all good.
You know, I read somewhere that judicious swearing is a sign of intelligence. So
Fuck yeah.
thanks, Scott.
That's right.
That's Scott's one
You know-
F word for the day.
Yeah, right.
You know, I think the guy, the head clinician who was in charge of that study was it E. Frederick Fuckerson? I think was his name. And he was like,
Keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep going.
He just wanted to make his name okay.
My back, Scott.
Yes, I
Thank you.
do.
I appreciate that. So Judith, we know you because you're a vocal at Skips Music.
At Skips Music. That's where I met you.
Yes, and so you teach vocal lessons and you do other musical things.
I do.
Musical things. Tell us all
Lots
about
of
it.
musical things. Well, I've been teaching voice. Next summer will be 10 years, which is freaking crazy.
And you're only 15, which is
I
amazing
know, it's
how
so
that
weird.
works. You know?
I'm going to be 28 next year. Thanks. But
You got sends here. It's okay.
I know I wasn't.
I know we
baby,
have
though.
the room set up as
My-
like a bunch of booths with like little things you pull,
Yeah.
but that was just accident.
was
We didn't
just-
mean that.
Dude,
to,
you're gonna make my PTSD flare up. Start talking about that.
The good news, if it
rocking.
flares up, I have this ruler right here. I could smack you on your hands until it goes away. Right? Will that help with the PTSD?
That's how it works.
Actually, full disclosure, my third grade teacher.
Oh no.
Sister Regina.
Sister
I don't believe
Regina.
that's true. Regina, really?
If I've been victimized by Sister Regina. Sorry,
Yes, yes. On the last day of 3rd grade, I spelled the F word
Oh no,
out of pipe cleaners.
that's adorable.
And so she told me, she went out of her way to tell me that I was the worst student she'd ever had.
Shut
Oh, that's
up.
fine.
To a 9-year-old, like an 8 or 9.
Yeah, 3rd grade. That was my last day of
Ryan's
3rd
like, I'm number one.
damn straight.
My 3rd grade teacher sucked too, but she wasn't a nun, so
Yeah. So naturally, when King Diamond came into my life, I was primed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
I gotta
Yeah.
tell
I
you,
was on the other side of organized religion problems, so that's a different day.
Totally different topic.
gotta say my 3rd grade teacher was awesome. Right?
Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
3rd grade teachers are supposed to suck.
Actually, all my teachers in elementary school were awesome.
Awesome. Oh, I thought
Yeah.
he said awful. My bad.
No, so
Wow, I don't know
Oh,
what
where
that's
did you
like.
go?
Yeah.
Did you go to
Yeah,
like a
right?
freaking little?
I went to Penryn School. It was like it
Penryn.
literally was a school of like 200 people, and I
he's
went
not
from
wrong.
kindergarten
Penryn
through
is so
8th
cute.
grade
It's
with the
it's
same
kind
group
of
of
a cute
people.
name.
So Penryn is like the good version of my school that I went to. So I was like a little bit in Loomis.
Oh, you went to
so
Loomis
I went to
School?
Loomis Grammar School.
There you go.
And it was K through 8. But there was a joke in Loomis where we were on the wrong side of the tracks. There was like H.
And the
Clark
tracks were
Powers,
literally right there,
literally
too.
right in the middle. And H. Clark Powers was on the other side of the tracks, and Loomis was on this side. And all like the rich kids and like the cool, nice, happy families with no trauma were over there. And all the kids in the ghetto of Loomis and the bad teachers came
Oh
to
my
my
God,
school.
the ghetto of Loomis.
I lived in the ghetto of Loomis, Sunwell Drive, baby.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Penryn sounds kind of like if you were the
Idyllic.
protagonist of a fantasy novel.
So
Penryn would
cute.
be your baby unicorn sidekick.
Oh, and Penryn's really cute, so I kind of go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so cute that when I was 18, so that's adorable. It was.
Well, I mean, you're gonna want to leave. That's how it works. You want to leave
Yeah,
your
you
hometown.
can't stay in Penryn and rock.
No.
So it's
So one day, Judith, you left home in
I left
Loomis and became a vocalist.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Oh yeah, sorry. See, spaghetti conversation. That's my bad. But yeah, I did musical theater all my life, and I did other types of singing all my life, and so now I teach and I direct, and I've gotten to do a lot of musicals, and it's really fun. It's funny to spend so much of my time like investing in my life for children, like
Yeah.
ages 8 through 14 for these musicals, so 3 months out of the year where I'm just like so stressed and tired, but it's really fun.
Yeah, that like 8 to 10-year-old range. That's kind of the danger zone, isn't it?
It's such a dark time. It's a dark time because there are some 8-year-olds where you're like, yeah, you're cool, I can talk to you, and then there are some 8-year-olds that are like feral, and you're
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Like, who let you loose?
Right. Just you have to embrace the madness.
Like they can't read yet, and they're just like, have you watched? I mean, this is my generation, but do you guys know the cartoon Recess?
no.
There was there was a cartoon called Recess, and the kindergartners were literally like primal, like in this show, and like they like had face paint, and like they're just like didn't wear clothes and ran around with like feathers and shit, and just like with like spears and stuff, and that's
Yeah,
how
so
I feel about that age range.
That reminds me of Catholic school.
Yeah, Little Feral.
Yeah, it was like 9 years of Lord of the Flies. Yeah,
exactly.
with nuns.
But yeah, so it's fun.
So that
That's what I
explains a
do.
lot, Ryan. Though it really does about your
Doesn't
love
it?
of horror and of stuff. It actually makes a lot.
Oh
of sense
yeah,
now.
there are reasons why
Yeah.
The Exorcist is my favorite movie.
Oh, dude.
It's true.
So good.
Catholicism is some crazy shit. It's
So
like the
good.
oldest.
But that being said, if you are a Roman Catholic, you are more than welcome to
No,
listen to this podcast.
listen.
100%.
But we're gonna speak about it probably. But no, yeah. So I mean, I never thought that I was actually gonna become like a recording singer. I wanted to, but I didn't. I don't know. I got into that weird mindset about 5 years into teaching, where it was like, well, those who can't do teach, which I think is such trash. It's a bad mindset, and
Yeah, I
it kind
get
of
that,
puts
though.
you into a pocket. And I don't know, when you approached me about singing for you guys, it was at a point when I like didn't know if I was, I don't know, I like didn't have a lot of confidence in my voice, which is hilarious.
yeah.
Well, you should have.
Look at the results now. I mean,
well, I mean, I
it's hard to
saw.
argue with it, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, I sought you out because I can hear you teach.
And you can hear me singing all the time. I mean, I really do use
Yes.
that room as like the second I have a break. I'm
Yes.
like, hey, blah.
And I really do use the bathroom that's next to that room
All the time.
quite
Why
a
do you
bit.
think I'm next to that bathroom?
That's very smart. Actually, you teach in the studio where I taught my first lessons.
Oh, that's cute. No way.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. That's the same studio where I had a student start crying when I asked her if she had been practicing, and then while I was trying to calm her down, that evolved into a bloody nose. Oh. And that was like my first year of teaching too. I was like, look, I'm not mad at you. I just wanted to find out what's going on.
Explain to the audience so that you were cleaning his shotgun when you asked her to his practice.
I cleaned
for some reason she started getting hysterical and crying.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But,
I clean my shotgun or my machete
had a very different
like all the time.
Yeah, and you got the chainsaw, you're pulling the bits of hair and skin out of it. And you're trying to explain to her like, everything's cool. I'm just asking if you're practicing.
I was just stringing together my tooth necklace, and
that was the day you had the one with the human ears somewhere else. That was out clean.
Well, those have to be cured.
Okay.
They have to dry.
It's got a whole process. You can't.
You can't just like throw them on there.
So
But that's another topic.
The poor girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So I wanted to clarify that for the audience.
Yeah.
So they knew that's why.
I feel like that's something that people don't know about music teachers.
Is we make people cry all the time?
A lot of accidental tears.
Totally.
Dude, and one thing, the singing lessons that I don't know if you guys know, but in my early teaching, I forgot to remind people not to lock their knees. And I used to teach in a cement room, and a girl went down. She passed out because she was locking her knees during the lesson, which is a thing that can happen.
That's so crazy.
Because the blood oxygen to your brain gets cut off if your legs are locked. I saw it happen at like the Marine Corps graduation. I've seen it happen before, but this girl, literally, it was 2 seconds where all of a sudden she looked weird and then she was down.
Wow.
And I was just like 18 years old being like, oh my God. Like,
somebody help me stash his body somewhere.
Literally, like, she came to pretty fast, but it's something that, like, I always tell new students, I'm like, you can either sit in here or you got to keep your knees unlocked, please.
So I've heard that advice relative to
playing guitar.
No. Well, I mean, you always have to have like the power stance.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You can't stand with your legs. That's Beatles.
You do. Yeah, you do have to have.
If your legs are locked.
Right. Totally. You can't have your legs close together. You have to have the power stance.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's different. That helps.
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you're going to do like the Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley sway back and forth.
Yeah, you can't do that with locked legs.
One could argue that no one should ever have to do that.
Or the accept balls to the wall sway.
I don't think that's really necessary either. Udo Dirkenschneider, I'm not really interested in seeing his ball swag.
You know what? Those first two albums.
I love Accept. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trashing Accept. I'm just saying,
We can like music and not want to watch their balls.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't he swing around on a wrecking ball? Like he was way ahead of Miley Cyrus.
No way. I was just about to say that. I was like, he was ahead of the curve.
He was.
I got to tell you, though, he had his balls to the wall, man.
He
his
did.
Balls to the wall.
Oh, balls on the ball. Nah.
He's my favorite. He is my favorite.
This is a band. This literally is a song called Balls to the Wall.
Actually.
Okay.
But he is my favorite London Leather Boy.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. London Leather Boy?
I guess something has to be
he's
right.
a real midnight mover.
Oh my.
Fast as a shark.
It's true.
See,
I did it again.
sexuality is a spectrum.
Yes. Truly.
Is he as fast as a mud shark, though?
Ooh, boy, you sure combined all those topics in one reference, Scott.
I'm just a sad, slow millennial, guys. Slow down.
No, that's all right. No, that was the perfect fusion of sexuality and marine life. That was great, Scott.
It sounds like, isn't that on Red Lobster's menu? Our new surf and turf is the perfect combination of sexuality and marine life.
Yeah, right. And that's why you got fired from Red Lobster.
Exactly.
Boy, back when the first music store I worked in, we were right. We remember a Guitar Player music.
Yeah, I remember that place.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a Red Lobster like right behind.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually, Northbridge was there for a long time too. Yeah, same thing.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I bought my first music book ever at Northridge Music.
Oh, I was probably there actually. I was teaching there
Wow.
starting in '96. So I
Oh
was.
shit!
Yeah,
How long did you teach?
From '96 to 2016.
Definitely were there at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Then that's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
funny.
And before it was Northridge, it was Guitar Player.
And I taught there
music.
for a minute,
And I
too.
started working there in 1994.
Oh, before I was born.
All right, guys, I'm gonna. Damn.
Man, that's a shot to the nuts right there. Oh my god.
Sorry, my dentures were
Yeah.
falling out.
I was sorry. I was reaching.
rough.
I was reaching for one of my butterscotches. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Trying to focus again. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't
totally.
worry. I'm the most grandma 20-year-old you'll ever meet, so I have to find it where I can get it.
That was good.
Pardon
That
me
was
while
very
I
good.
put on this Asper cream.
Please, more of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to change my Depends.
Exactly. You guys, you know what I did recently? I put all my money in gold.
Did you bury it in your backyard?
In my backyard, and in the mattress too. It's
Make
not as
sure you
comfortable
tell
as it was,
people
but-
where it is, so
Yeah.
that you don't
Yeah.
like die and then your family.
You know,
is
I
like,
would tell
don't know where my
the
dad
pool boy,
buried
but I
his
think he's stealing from me.
That's funny because I just set up a reverse mortgage with Joe Namath.
Oh, right on. See, then
You know
you're
what's
doing it
funny?
right.
Millennials don't get to do any of that. So.
That's true. You'll never have a mortgage to worry about.
Don't you worry about it, guys. I can make fun of you for being old all you want, but I'll never own a time.
It's the apocalypse.
That is.
He needs to own a home.
That is gallows humor.
Yeah.
Oh, we're here. We're with it. So
yes,
sorry. But we're also
indeed.
musicians, so it's lucky that you guys even have those problems.
So my crappy joke was because of working in front of a Red Lobster, all the guys at the shop called it Dead Mobster.
Okay.
So I will.
That was clever. Those guys was
so there's a bad joke to get us back on track.
Well, speaking of get us back on track, one thing I wanted to talk about is our awesome new record.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So
it's so good.
Let's kind of talk about our general thoughts on like what the style of the music is. Let's try, if someone who wants to hear what we're doing, and like they hear us every week talking and being brilliant and amazing, but they want to hear us our music too. So how would you guys describe the music on our new record?
I'll start with the name of the project, Ex Aegis.
Oh, there you go.
Now we're mixing languages, but Aegis means
it means tool of the gods.
The tool of the gods, and and so that's like Greek, right?
Yep.
All right.
Or Grumman, if you want to take that
okay,
that approach to it. But Aegis is definitely Greek. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yep. So Aegis is the tool of the gods, and Ex is Latin for from the.
Yeah.
So we're from the gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, from the tool of
There's
gods.
nothing wrong with the egos in this room. That's all I can say.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, outside of myself, it's well earned from you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me.
You are awesome, dude. But anyway, so let's talk about the style of the music. Like, what kind of stuff would you, Judith? You sang on everything, but how would you describe the music on this?
I think that it's like a return to music, which sounds like way too basic, but it's a return to really using instruments to their limit, and it's really creating something raw and real, and like every second of it is authentic, and I love that. It's like if you like 80s metal, then you're gonna love it, but it also has a lot of soul vibes and a lot of it's just intricate. We've got dueling guitars going on with you guys and the freaking incredible solos. It's just like it's not just about one thing, and that's the cool thing.
I should probably mention incredible vocals too. Amazing vocals.
They brought stuff out of me that I didn't know was in there, you guys.
Well, but we did.
So stylistically, though, my take on it, let me just throw it out there, and you guys can tell me I'm totally full of shit.
Absolutely,
I would
will
appreciate
happily.
very much. But it's kind of, to me, it's like somewhere between like classic hard rock and power metal.
Yeah,
it's somewhere in between those two things, with elements of like I would say pop and R&B in some places, and elements of like kind of classic rock in some certain places, and really almost like I would say late 90s, early 2000s sort of symphonic metal in certain places.
Like that.
You know what I mean? What do you guys think? Is that a good, accurate description of it?
I think it's where popular music would have gone if the radio format hadn't changed in the early 90s.
I like that. I feel like the weird thing nowadays when you're listening to music is like, where's the rock? Is gone? Like, what happened?
Well, people think any kind of guitar is rock.
Yeah, but it's not true at all. And it's like there's like the emo movement happened, and so like pop punk exists and modern metal exists, but I don't feel like this is listenable rock.
Yeah, I would say modern metal exists and pop punk exists, but they're both very little cliched, little
and people don't want it all the time, And even me as a pop punk person, like there's a lot of pop punk that I don't like.
And I would say metal too has gotten to a point now where it's really not very accessible to your average person. That's what I mean. Like someone who's not already a metal fan is not going to put on like a Lamb of God record and go, "Oh, this is great."
Like,
you know what I mean?
And I mean, I was raised on that shit, but I can't push it on anyone.
But even like the stuff that's got maybe more like the Periphery or Animals as leaders, it's very technical guitar playing. There's no hooks or melodies anywhere. So it's kind of like there's nothing for anybody who's not already in that circle to grab a hold of.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
I think this is it's accessible rock and roll, and I don't, not in a way that it's like simple, because it's not, but it's like there are melodies that'll get stuck in your head in a good way, and it'll stick with you. There's meaning behind the songs, and so that's the other thing with metal. Like, what the hell are they talking about? You can't understand it unless you're reading the CD booklet, which do they even have CD booklets anymore?
Like,
is that
well, and you know what?
It's like death and brother.
Well, and I think although the song are a range of emotions and topics, there's an overall optimism
positivity
to the song. Yeah, there's positivity on this album, and it's okay to enjoy well-crafted rock music that isn't about being angry or being a tough guy or
I think
any of those tropes.
There's a release in this more than anything. There's a catharticness of it where it's like, instead of misery loves company, we're like, it's like motivating. It's like, yeah, I'm going to meet you in your misery and I'm going to see you, but like, let's climb out of it. Like, which is kind of how I feel.
Staying there's a choice.
Yeah. I mean, and like, we're not ignoring that there's shit in the life, but we're definitely not saying like wallow in it and shit on everyone else around you.
Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You either get up and keep punching or you to sit and die.
Yep.
You know
and that's
I mean?
like, I feel like some people really like the sit and die music, which I mean, I came, like, again, I was born in 95, so I was a teenager in 2009. So, I mean, I was all into My Chemical Romance and Lamb of God and Every Time I Die, and all of that stuff is just like, sad, let me die. And
well, you know, I can tell you that to me, that as a person who lived through, I mean, like, Brian and I were little kids in the 80s, and then when time we kind of came of age is right around the time you were born. Yeah. Which is funny, like, when we got to be like 19, 20.
You guys got the best.
Yeah. So we got everything. It was like, here you go, look at this amazing. Well, not for you, not for you.
I met my girlfriend, who I'm still with, in 2008.
Yeah.
Oh, right there.
But the funny thing is, though, I can tell you what happened is, like, once the 80s was over and grunge took over for like about 10 minutes. It wasn't really a movement. And then when it failed and went away, really nothing replaced it. What came after became like this like bro metal and like this rap metal,
bro metal,
and then that got quickly replaced.
Wave was terrible.
Well, that got country and R&B and hip hop, and that became now mainstream music. And then what metal did is it went the opposite direction. Now in the early 2000s, it got much better from an instrumental standpoint. Got really good bands coming out at the time, but there was no melody, songcraft, hooks, anything that you could grab a hold of if you weren't already a metal fan. Yeah. And it just evolved from there. It became a race to the bottom. Like who can have the most unlistenable thing? And then on the technical side, let's make it so technical that there's no way any melody or any kind of hook
that people can like I mean, like math metal and shit. Like, it's a lot. And I feel like that's, as a society, we're grasping for stuff because everything has happened. It feels like, you know, it's like everyone's written the simple song, everyone's written the complicated song. So it's like, that's why this felt so nice, because it's like no one is doing an analog thing anymore. And then granted, we didn't do full analog, but essentially the modern equivalent.
Well, I mean, everyone's, you know, applying their craft.
Exactly.
Like there's no auto-tune vocal.
There's no Melodyne, there's no...
guitars are done in real takes.
There's no punched-in guitar, there's no punched-in... Like, there's human drummer even. Like, it's human.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing in art now, is there's a lot of not human...
It's pretty sad to say, actually. You know what I mean? And, yeah, it really is.
And as a singer, I will say... It pisses me off a lot, because it's just like, you can create a good vocalist on a computer, and and I've watched it happen. Like, Melodyne is I'm not going to go so far as to say it's the death of music, because like it lets people create, but like you can straight up put it on the vocal line and move individual beats into place, and it's just like
it's not a performance, actually.
It's not a performance. It's a creation.
That's perfect for like Halloween season coming up. It's a creation.
It's a creation, an unholy creation.
It's a Frankenstein.
So I think that's a very good point, and I think that's something that, you know, one thing I feel about this record too is that I feel like it fills a niche that doesn't really exist anymore. I think it's something that, and the one thing I'm really hoping is that we can reach people who aren't like the classic metal fans. I'm hoping we have a lot of people who are like not over. I want you if you're 50, I want you to love our music too, but I want to reach someone like in their 20s and 30s who wants to hear this kind of thing, and I want to make sure that people in the 50s and 60s grew up on classic metal love it too.
Right.
But I mean, I think that's the key. I think a lot of bands that have come out recently who have this sort of style, or at least in this ballpark, I feel like they're kind of aiming at those like 50-somethings. Yeah. You know, and that kind of thing.
Dad rock, no offense.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I think we've avoided the dad rock thing. Well, I hope so.
I think the key is just be authentic, man. I think just do what you do, you know what I mean? And don't worry about any of the other stuff, you know what I mean? That's
the key with like any art, right? If you're thinking about, like, if you're too heavily influenced by what people want, then it's going to become kind of this weird augmentation of yourself. I think throughout the whole time, you guys had been building it before I was a part of it, and so it's taken its time. It's been allowed to breathe, it's been allowed to grow, and it's never been forced, because like we're not waiting on someone else's approval. It's just real.
Right.
That's
true. I think at the end of the day, if you can look back at it and say, I like everything that's happening here, that's all that matters.
That's always what matters.
I mean, to be even more fundamental, I just want to make music that I want to listen to.
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Oh my God, I said it again. I'm going to put a tip jar right here for every time I say it's true. I'm going to.
It's true.
Oh my God.
That's right.
That's
Thank you for being so patient there,
it's true.
listeners.
It's true. It's true.
So, yeah, and I think we've really captured positivity and optimism. I mean, the songs aren't necessarily party songs,
but there's uplifting.
One kind of a party song. Not really party, but more like straight vibey for sure.
Yeah, totally. You know, I always liked musicians who looked happy when they play.
Yeah,
it's true.
And I write music to cheer myself up.
I feel like, and that kind of transfers really well. Like that's really going into recording it. I kind of briefly said that before you approached me, I wasn't really confident, and I think that this emotion behind the songs of like just get up and do it. Like you want to, so do it. Like let's start now. It's not too late. Just freaking go. And like most of the songs, that's the vibe, and it's just like it's beautiful as a musician because I feel like we see all these people getting famous or making it in their early 20s or even late teens nowadays, and when you hit 25, 26 and beyond, even that early in life, you start to feel like, oh well, it's kind of like it's too late.
You know what's funny is that everybody in your circle is going to pile onto that feeling too. Like, okay, you know, you're 28, 29 years old. Maybe you should start doing something else. You know what I mean?
And it's just like, screw you. It's like, screw you, dudes. And so I feel like I let myself into that mentality way early. And just because, I don't know, I got told my whole life, like, oh, struggling musician, bleh, you know?
Yep, I heard all that too.
My dad was a musician and, like, totally turned on it. And that was my experience with it. Like, he sold his soul to a contractor job and just, like, was super unhappy.
The entire world is really trying to give you like the license to do that.
Yeah.
To give up on what you want. Like, and I think partially it's people who themselves have
given up on what they want.
Did not get what they wanted. So
misery loves company.
They're like, well, you might as well. You need to have a regular job. Blah, blah, blah. And so it was just like, not that I had a regular job. I still was teaching voice lessons, but it was the message behind the song is very songs. The whole album is just really. It's motivating and it's inspiring.
That's
to be
really
cliche.
kind of you say. That's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan and Jude. Make sure to like and subscribe. Now back to the show.
You know, one thing I know as a lyricist I was trying to do in a lot of the tunes is be kind of ambiguous, though, about what the song's about. You know what I mean?
That's what makes it so relatable.
Yeah,
it's like I'm not being like, Scott was going through this, and this. Like, I'm able to listen to it and, like, can potentially glean my own personal story out of it, which is my favorite way to listen to music. So
the only one I would say that's not like that is probably Not My Kind. That's actually more of like that's like an allegorical kind of thing.
Well, you know? I think that also speaks to this isn't just a bunch of singles. It's an album. You're supposed to listen to it start to finish.
But every song is so strong, they all could be singles.
Of course.
They're all good, but I feel like, the cohesive element is there. And I can't wait to listen to it in order and all.
Yeah. It's not exactly a concept album, but I, for one, really like a well-made concept album.
Me too.
Thank you. And so, you know, everything by King Diamond. Everything.
It's true.
Yes, and there's other good ones out there, but
there's other ones.
There's other ones, but
King Diamond, and there's some
other stuff.
The first concept album.
There's 2112.
The Wall.
Right, the
Sgt.
Wall.
Peppers, whatever.
Yeah, but King Diamond though. So. Yeah, so it's not a concept album, but it is. A person should listen to it start to finish.
I feel like that's totally true.
You know, it's a good thing I'd like to kind of drill down a little bit is like you were saying you felt not very confident, but then through the process of recording, you started to feel more confident. Like, what was that process like? Did you feel like every song you did was like it's a little bit more confident?
It was kind of that, but it was also, and like, oh my goodness, I'm going to stroke your guys' ego, but it was also like, it was really the fact that you guys were showing up with such freaking incredible talent and putting so much trust into me where I was just like, I'm going to fake it till I make it. And I'm going to like be confident and get my shit done while I'm there and like not second guess myself the way I do because I queen of second guessing myself and making stuff take too long because of it. And I was just like, I don't have that kind of time.
It's
and
called
I don't
being
have
an artist. That's all that is.
And you know, you delivered like a boss.
And as I went through, definitely like as I started to do stuff that surprised me, then it stopped being a confidence battle. It really like it kind of morphed into just like, I get to go sing now. Like,
also get to kind of be a part of creating something. You know what I mean? It's just pretty cool.
I felt like I was a part of it. I didn't feel like I was like your hired singer, and that was really nice. Even though it would have been fine if that is how it was. Because it would have been totally fine. But you let me collaborate, and you let me feel like I was part of it, and it was wonderful, and it made me feel I was like, I am an artist. Thanks, guys.
That was always the intention, by the way. It was never a situation where thinking like, oh, she's
and I
just gonna come up
appreciate that.
and,
I never did feel like that, not
Yeah.
once.
Okay, well, that's good. Definitely.
Well, I mean, I definitely don't think it's too much to say that we couldn't have done it without you. So it's
that's
really
absolutely,
true. I mean,
that's absolutely
and
correct.
not to soak the ego the other way, but like you delivered way beyond what we had ever even imagined could have happened. So it's
And of course, we're going to keep writing new songs.
that's
Yeah.
true. Oh yeah.
So there's going to
No,
be
I'm
that.
still around.
But this group of tunes that you guys are going to get here is coming out here very shortly, probably the next few
How long
months.
do you think you guys have been writing it?
Oh, I don't know.
Wow.
3 years,
so,
maybe 2
okay,
years.
well, so we should tell the story. So, Scott, you and I met in the late 90s.
Yeah,
At
the guitar player.
music, right?
Cute.
And then I didn't see you for a super
Because
long
I was living in
time.
Los Angeles, and then I moved back. And
That's right.
And then right around the late 90s, like 99-ish, something like that, I had my own solo band. I'm still playing in addition to Ex Aegis. I have a band called Scott Allen Project, which is my instrumental solo band. And Ryan was good enough to provide me with some of my best guitars I had that I recorded my first record with. My Ibanez RG3120 and my Ibanez RG520 QS. Ryan sold them to me, and he was such a cool dude. I remember going down, I still remember like it was yesterday. I remember like going to my car to go drive down to get my 3120, and some dude had their car break down. I had to give him a jump start on the way. I still remember this. It's like 99. And I went down, and Ryan's like, dude, I got your guitar. I'm like, oh, let's check it out. And he opens the case. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So he and I were at that kind of guitar buddy thing
Hella
back
vibey.
then.
Love it.
And then I remember I called him up. I'm like, dude, I need another guitar that's kind of like this one, but not as nice because it's my backup. And then he's like, oh, I got the perfect thing. And then I don't know what happened. Like in the 2000s, I think I know what happened is I stopped playing metal for a while and started playing pop music.
Yeah.
And then I got married and had kids. And then in about 2006, I kind of came back to my more metal roots, and I put out my first record finally that I did with Frank. And that kind of swung me back around, and then just keep on chugging along. And next thing you know, our paths. It's not that I ever intentionally like dropped off or anything like that. It's just one of those things that when you got like
I think that just shows that you guys were meant to be friends.
I mean, that's true. Well,
Totally.
Like when you drift away from a person and then like naturally find your way back, that just means your path wasn't done. Y'all.
also when you got like
no doubt.
a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, and you're trying to raise
Can't
kids
imagine.
and stuff like that, it's like you're just
My 13-year-old dog is enough for me.
Well, I was doing that.
Yes.
And
I wish we
teaching
had a
60
dog, but
students
we
a
have a
week,
chihuahua.
plus recording records and booking shows and webmastering and doing all this. I was doing all that stuff at once.
Yeah.
and
Crazy.
it was like I didn't have time to do anything at that point.
Yeah.
And then, it's funny. I remember just thinking like, man, Ryan was so cool. I want to, be able to hang out with him again. And then I was just kind of calling up and say, hey, what you got going on? And then we started jamming around, just really jamming. And then we would start kind of like just throwing riffs at each other and stuff.
And you came back to teach at Skips,
Yeah, it's
where
true.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
teaching at the time, and that's man.
That was due to the
Shit.
demise of Northbridge. When Northbridge Music went under, I went
Yeah.
to Skips for a while, and that was great. I mean, I always liked Skips, and the people there were really cool. And Ryan was my buddy, so I'm like, yeah, let's go hang out and do that stuff. And then when we started jamming together, it was pretty amazing how it was almost like we had the same sort of thoughts. And
We share a brain cell.
Yeah, on that sort of thing. And then we'd have this part, like almost every song. There's like a few songs that are mostly Ryan, and there's a few songs that are mostly me. But then most of the songs are like some combination of the two. You know what I mean? And like we have, I think, All's a good example.
Yeah.
Like the first couple parts, and then the chorus is Ryan, and
I love
it's kind of a cool thing how that.
and
kinda
as a
comes up.
listener, like there is subtle differences, but I couldn't tell you like which is which. Like that's the cool part where I'm like, you guys it's completely cohesive. It's super cool.
Well, even when we trade off solos and stuff, I feel like we complement each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I
It's,
think we definitely grew together artistically speaking.
Yeah,
So
true.
that's been awesome.
And so I think we just kind of started throwing tunes down, and once we had enough songs to record, we said, okay, let's start really recording these for real. Then we got
Right.
bed tracks, and then we said, okay, we need a singer, and then that's where Judith came in.
Yep.
And, you know what I mean?
So
And
cool.
And then there's the story of first there was 24 track, then there was the first laptop,
yeah, the laptop that didn't make it too long.
and then a pandemic happened.
Yes, then a whole
Ooh, so
Right?
you might
So
as
we
well
put us
just
out, yeah.
sit
Yeah.
into it. Oh my god.
So we
the
lost a year because of the pandemic, where we all had to be isolated.
Yep, it's
Trash.
true.
And during that time, that's where I came up with the riff and the arrangement for Rising, the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
track on the album.
And that's so funny is that Ryan one day goes, "Hey, I got a surprise for you." It was like on Christmas time, like 2020.
It
I
was
want to say.
Christmas, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he sent me this. I'm like, oh, there's someone singing on this. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I was like, who is this? And he's like, oh, she's Judith. I'm like, wow. I was like, this is so cool to hear this. You know what I mean?
I was so nervous. I was like, wait, he like doesn't know, and I'm like singing on his lyrics. Like what?
You know what's funny though? I remember when you guys did Shadowlock, I wasn't here. I wasn't here to push in, and I remember like it was perfect. I remember listening like this is exactly what I would have told her to do even if I was there. I mean, it's
That's
like
so cool.
well, that's all Judith. All I did was hit record.
We had a
I remember
hard.
saying, like, I guess I don't have to be there after all.
I feel like we still had a hard time, man. Like
I
me
think it's too
personally,
hard.
like I feel like my indecisiveness kind of showed specifically during Shadowlock, and I think it was because like you weren't there.
Sorry.
You weren't there, man. You weren't there.
But I'm so glad it worked out, and I'm glad that like Rising, granted, it's gone through its own changes because we re-recorded it, but it was still mostly what it became, which
Yeah.
I love. So
Totally.
Well, I mean, I
like
just
that.
sheet and a guitar melody that's going to be where the vocals are going to be.
I mean,
you know?
that's for
And-
all of
and-
it, and that was really hard because it was like that was the right in the beginning of my imposter syndrome. So I was like doing it at home, and I'm just like,
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned imposter syndrome because I totally deal with that too.
oh my god. I feel
Yeah.
like anyone who's not a freaking egomaniac that is in the creative
in
field
fact,
is gonna and then like Scooby Doo.
Right.
I was a dog
Scott's
the whole
doing the
time.
Scooby-Doo's, Yeah.
No, no.
But yeah, so it's been really fun. So that was what, the end of 2020 then?
yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. I specifically when I came up with those riffs and that arrangement, my whole mission was I haven't seen Scott in like a year, and I don't want this partnership to die.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reignite it.
So I wanted to have something, Scott, for
It,
you.
it wasn't, but
That was-
it was just a,
Well, it's just
thing down,
everybody
Yeah.
was
Pandemic.
everybody in the world was locked down,
Yeah.
and then when
It was
things
kind of,
get
it
out
was
of
like
sight,
it was a connection. You were like, all right, things are starting to get back to normal. Let's,
right,
know,
like,
it
hey,
makes
we're
sense to me.
serious about this.
Yeah.
like
that's
I'm
true.
showing you my serious.
Yes, like we need to make this real, and if there's any barrier that pops up,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Well-
barrel through it, and,
And
thank
thankfully,
you,
Judith came
Judith.
into the
Yep.
mix, and
It's been
that's
so fun.
and-
Yeah.
and-
It's just
Help-
been straight
helped
up
us-
so fun.
batter down those barriers.
You know what's funny too is I love our working relationship is just the way it's grown. Is at first I could definitely feel that tentativeness,
Yeah.
and then it just sort of went away. You know what I mean?
That's
And
straight up is
which is
how it
cool.
was. It was not about you guys at all. It was all that own internal, like, oh my god, they're gonna see. Oh, sorry, microphone. They're gonna see, like, I don't know, whatever it was that I thought. I was like, that I'm not good enough. That I'm not like this kind of singer all the time. Like, blah, like stupid.
You know what's
stuff.
funny is that every time when they would, with the first like 2 or 3, I think that any kind of doubts I had about you were gone at that point. Because and the only
Yep.
doubt, and the doubts not in the sense that I didn't think you could sing, 'cause I knew you could sing. It's just like, okay, there's just got like a bluesy thing. Is she
He's
gonna
like,
be?
is she
is
do
this
that?
is musical theater person gonna have this like bluesy? I've been on the road in the deep south kind of sound. God damn it! If you couldn't do that, amazing. It was
love it.
incredible, and
Yep.
I was like, going,
I've spent a lot of time. I mean, like my favorite era probably is like Motown, like male singers. So like,
you know,
give
my
me Otis Redding or Sam Cooke any
my
day.
favorite
so.
kind of
Yeah.
my favorite era of music is what's going to now become known as the Ex Aegis era.
There you go.
Yes, the era,
There you go.
the Aegis era.
Yeah, exactly.
era.
That's the era that's coming. You guys
I think
all
it's
don't
bold
know
of
it's
me
that
to say
shit.
favorite era. I will
Yeah,
say,
exactly.
like backpedaling a little bit, but it is one of my favorite eras.
Otis Redding's a suck bag. Come on, come on.
He may not be a good person, but did you know, fun fact, sitting on the dock of the bay, his biggest freaking hit of all time was a scratch demo that he recorded. He died in a plane crash after he recorded that scratch demo, and his family released that song at postmortem, and it is the biggest postmortem single of all time.
So was that part of the
That was-
contract? He had to die in a
no,
plane crash
like,
after he finished the song.
who
Is that what it
knows?
Back
was?
then, probably.
That was, like,
But like, it was insane.
wait,
like,
that seems kind of weird. Like, I'm like, Lord, look at this.
just
No,
a
it's totally
scratch.
standard. You have to die
I
in a
can't
plane.
get over the fact that it's just a scratch track. That the one that we know is literally
Yeah.
just him like messing around in the studio like right after he wrote it.
Wow.
And I'm like,
You know,
love
Yeah.
if only he had stayed on
Yeah.
that dock and kept passing time.
if only he
Yeah.
had just stayed there for a little while longer
Yeah.
for the
It's
next
like-
flight, maybe.
Who wrote this plane
I know.
crash?
I know.
Wait,
Is this
A lot of
wait,
bands
is it
seem to
gonna
have
have
that
to-
contract.
Oh no, dude, this is gold, man.
A
Buddy
lot of
Holly,
bands have that
Leonard Skinner.
contract. Yeah, Leonard Skinner. I was
Yeah.
about
Wait,
to
wasn't
say.
this written by Buddy Holly's lawyer? What?
Stevie Ray Like,
It
no,
worked
it's-
for all of
Leonard
them. They
Skinner?
got
Yeah.
really famous afterwards.
exactly.
Yeah.
That seems like my lawyer could have looked over this a little bit more. Oh, nah.
Yes.
Like,
Gotta
what's
do.
that?
All right.
You're a
Get on the
musician.
plane, man. All right, fine. No, it's funny. Actually, as much as I'm a metal guy, I really do have a major soft spot for old school R&B and soul.
Yeah,
I
I
really
think
do.
it's-
Like
Yeah.
Al Green
Well, it's
and
where
like
rock
Marvin
came
Gaye
from.
and stuff. I
James
love
Brown.
that
Where
stuff.
it all came from. I mean, it's all from the same vein. They are R&B, rhythm and blues, rock and roll. Like it's all from the same mother.
You know
know,
what's funny?
like
Yeah.
Like when I released the first Scott Allen Project record, one of the worst reviews I got was from Europe, and they said it sounded too American. And the reason it sounded too American to them is it had like a bluesiness to it.
oh wow.
And which was kind of an eye opener for me that like, okay, in certain parts of the world, like they don't appreciate that kind of soul blues thing. You
And
know
you're
what I mean?
Whoa.
like, that's because I'm an American.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, literally.
That's a weird thing to criticize me for. Like, it sounds so American. I'm like,
That's the weirdest.
Yeah, man.
Ew. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't.
I thought it was strange time at the time, like one. Yeah, I'm from California, man. So it's like makes sense, you know. That,
like I was born and raised here. English is my first language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
What's this? It sounds totally Norwegian.
I mean, that would be one thing. If someone was like, "This California man has a British accent," that's kind of weird. That's
weird.
a different thing.
That's a Billy Joe Armstrong thing, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought he was Canadian for the longest time.
Yeah, I don't know what his. There's a punk accent. I don't know what it is.
Oh my, he has
What
the
is it?
softest punk accent. If you want to know what the punk accent is, just listen to Blink 182.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
don't
called.
waste your time on me. I'm all ready.
Yeah, that's
The
it.
voice inside my head.
That's it. Yeah, it's called like poserish or something.
I always
right?
just assumed that's because they couldn't hit the notes right, so they're trying to like hedge their bets on any.
So
note.
it
it's an
is. So the
affectation.
reason
It's
why
weird.
it's an affectation, but as a singing teacher, like vowel modification, okay, like I'm gonna get sciencey for a second.
it. Do
no,
it.
literally, it is a change just to make the notes easier to sing. Like you belt the word me normal, so that's why they go like may and like get that A in there. Like everything they're doing is to make their life easier. They're not hitting consonants very hard. Everything's really lazy. Everything's very so it's straight up because they can't sing it right.
That's why I always assumed
You're
that.
right.
But,
So the punk accent is a byproduct
Laziness.
of being bad at singing.
Low key.
yes, and bad at guitar playing too. Bad at
However,
writing
Blink
songs.
182 has one of the best drummers of all time. He was Berkeley trained.
It's the
He's so
saving
good.
grace. You know,
He's so
it's-
good.
yeah.
He's the only one that made that band.
Yep.
I'm not going to say anything.
We can't. You have to. You
Well,
can't,
I mean,
you
Travis
can't-
Barker can play drums.
Travis
but
Barker
I mean,
can play drums.
Yes, he can also impregnate Kardashians too. So
Is that what he does?
Yeah.
I
that what
don't
he
know
does?
anything about people. No, we can't learn about people because then you can't like anything.
That's probably true.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good point.
no, I like one of the
You can't
biggest,
learn about people because you don't like.
No,
it.
as one of the
That's-
biggest Beatles fans in the world, like broke down what freaking John Lennon was.
She
like,
can't.
no.
She cannot ever listen to our first episode.
Did you talk shit about the Beatles?
That's really important that she never does. You know, so.
Number one. I know how you guys feel about the Beatles. It's fine. I don't care. I don't care.
Don't rope Ryan in this. This is me. I'll
No,
take the
it's
arrows.
okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Oh.
I don't dislike the Beatles. I think there's a lot of really interesting musical things happening in Beatles songs. It's not my go-to when I'm driving to work,
No,
but that's okay.
I can't fight with
yeah.
anyone who doesn't want to listen to them. My only thing with them is that they changed things. You
no,
can't
there's no doubt,
pretend that
yeah.
they didn't
No, that's
change
true.
the world.
No, there's
So
very interesting
that's-
like, parallel keys and all kinds
I mean,
of cool stuff happening
first,
with the songwriting.
excuse me,
Sure.
the first actually executed musical use of feedback, y'all. Jimi Hendrix took that from the Beatles. I feel
wasn't
fine.
It, wasn't
yes.
it Ike Turner at Sun Studios? Didn't his amplifier fall off the roof of the car?
No, they did this on. They figured out how to create it and recreate it. Every time I Feel Fine was played live, they would play with the feedback
You know,
on
it's,
stage.
it's so funny to have this
Feedback
conversation
or
because
overdrive?
No, it's feedback. It's a wow.
I'm actually almost certain.
Okay,
Ryan,
okay.
you can check me on this,
There's a
but I'm
distinction.
almost entirely certain that music started in 1978. I'm pretty sure that's when music started.
Yeah,
I'm
with
sorry.
the
My
Van
understanding
Halen
is
one,
nothing came
yeah.
before that, right? It was 78. It's like 01. It's like the Big Bang. It started
Okay,
there.
well, actually,
and then it moved
no,
forward, right?
I'm gonna say 73 with Black Sabbath.
So 78 is what you're saying. It started in 1978. and then forward from there. I think that's
Okay.
what
I've
you're
gotta
trying to tell
get-
me.
I have to give a
I
shout
don't
out
even
to Tony
remember what
Iommi.
freaking point I was making.
Almost certain. So Judith and Ryan are both
Got
trying
me
to say, if
off.
I'm understanding you correctly, is that music started in 1978. We all agree on this.
Well, I mean, that's the
Okay.
year I was
I
born.
can't.
So if you're trying to throw me the compliment, then
Ryan was
thanks.
born and music was created.
Music was
all at
created.
once, all at
Exactly.
the same moment.
No, I
It was
like
supposed
started,
to be
too much.
I think the
singularity.
thing that started was like the sound of a car horn, and then
I have to
there
say,
shall be music.
No,
That's what
I have
happened.
to say, as a person who's like building a record collection based on like the most number of decades being covered, like I can't say that. I don't agree with you. Like I have a record my oldest record Baroque period. Like
So,
I'm
like,
like,
nice.
yeah.
So it's like 79, something like that.
1879 for sure.
Nice.
No, my goal, I think I have 12 different decades worth of like music right now, and I'm like,
Nice.
fuck yeah.
Awesome.
You know, I was
Go.
always a
Actually, so just realized.
Which is
counted it.
crazy. In 45 years of music has existed.
if we're
It's amazing to me that happens.
If we're talking classical music, then I've got to give a shout out to Rachmaninoff. That's great stuff.
Don't even.
Pupil of Tchaikovsky.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very dramatic.
Aren't those-
I love
music.
Tchaikovsky, though.
Like, okay, cool. So if you like Tchaikovsky, check out Rachmaninoff.
Aren't those brands of vodka?
Yeah.
Right? I'm pretty sure they are, right?
I'm sure
Hey,
they
with-
are.
you know,
I'm gonna have my
without
Tchaikovsky
them and
and,
Paganini, we wouldn't have Yngwie Malmsteen.
It's true.
So
We wouldn't have a lot. So, like, that's
Yeah.
anything that you like from the 70s, man, they had to be inspired by something.
No, I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like was created from the
created?
forehead of Zeus and just came forth and it was fully formed. I'm pretty sure that's the way. If I
see.
have my history right,
I got to see his guitar in the Mopop.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. They had a full little Eddie corner, and it was like a bunch of his guitars,
Wait, is
like
this
his
up in
most famous
Seattle?
one. Yeah.
Okay.
It was so cool. I was pretty excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, a student of mine went up there, and I guess there's like a giant Funko Pop of Eddie.
Oh, that's so
And-
cute.
Yeah, so she took a picture of herself punching it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh,
That's
it was
fair.
so
I've never
awesome.
been a big so you don't. I don't really like Van Halen. So there you go.
Oh, what? Well, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Exactly.
Thanks
I
for-
mean, I won't dislike it. It's just again the same way you feel. I'm not gonna listen to it on my way to work.
Oh my God.
I know. You can't be double standard. You can't say that about my favorite shit.
I can
Hey, wait a second.
I
was
can do
defending
whatever
the
I
Beatles,
like.
too.
I have you know.
I'm Switzerland over here.
I'm not saying I hate it, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's stuff I tune into.
Now,
No,
there are two eras. Well,
So I
there's
think what I'm saying is that Van
Hagar.
Halen is the greatest rock band that's ever existed. I'm pretty sure
I
reading
also
between the
said I
lines.
was excited to see them in the Mopop. So if I didn't like
Yes.
him, I wouldn't be excited.
I'm just being optimistic.
Being obstinate. No, I have to. Yeah, I have to poke the bears where I can.
Indeed. Well, that's what we need. This dynamic. This
That's
is
true.
good.
No, honestly, we don't have to all agree on everything, and
No.
I don't hate the Beatles.
But I also don't hate Van Halen. So
Good.
there you go.
That's good.
There are definitely moments when I teach a Beatles song, and there's always something really interesting in there to talk about.
I love that. Well, I
and
mean,
usually that thing is in 1978.
they-
Van Halen played Eruption.
there
That's
was a
the-
time.
Typically,
There was a time period when they had to drive across town to learn a new chord because there weren't music shops and books.
I thought they always walked
yes.
everywhere barefoot. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked.
I mean,
with the Beatles,
maybe.
right?
Maybe.
They were
maybe
fans of crosswalks.
Yes,
though.
that's big.
They did like those
did-
crosswalks.
Yeah, they did not.
Only one
jaywalk.
of them liked to be barefoot.
Their first demos were all crosswalk based. I'm pretty sure that's all they talked about. You know?
Definitely heated moving laws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. They were very respectful.
Yeah, it's true.
Very
You
respectful.
gotta be careful. As their
Very-
cops have
They-
billy clubs, man.
Very
Well, I was gonna say
conscious
that.
of the environment if you think about it. Like
Yes.
that's no
Yeah.
carbon footprint. in
That's
that.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
There's
that's
just a
right.
regular footprint.
They respect.
Just a regular
Yeah.
footprint.
They respected their constables.
It's on Constable. What are you doing there? Come get you, my club. You stop running so
Zip
fast.
pip.
I'm gonna come back around to what we talked about in the
Yes,
beginning. Did you
please.
guys see the freaking he was a royal guard, like an old royal guard played like the guitar solo from Bohemian Rhapsody at the Queen's funeral on
Wow.
the top of Buckingham
That's
Palace.
rad. Are you
So
kidding
he's
me?
like
That's
he's
totally
just like,
rad.
"Da-da-da," and he's like in his whole like big hat thing, and I was just like, are you kidding me right now? He's
Wow.
playing the Queen song for the Queen
That is
on
so
Buckingham
awesome.
Palace.
Like he
was
looked like a
standing on it.
Christmas cracker,
He
but he was
literally,
playing.
but he was playing
Playing
a
Bohemian
freaking
Rhapsody.
electric guitar, just and it was
What-
beautiful.
Was it actually?
What did you say?
It could have actually been Brian May.
Very maybe, but I thought it was illegal to like put one of those outfits on.
That is awesome.
But yeah,
That's
so that is the one majorly good thing. The other thing, the Queen's Highland pony watched the procession and she was wearing the Queen's handkerchief on her.
My Queen's Little Pony.
Yeah.
I know, I care
My
more.
Queen's little
I will say I
pony,
care
my
more
Queen's
about the
little pony.
corgis and the horse than I do about anything. Like I worry about her corgis. Did you know she stopped breeding corgis in 2015 so that they wouldn't outlive her?
That's actually not a common sentence you hear all the time.
I know.
Right.
Did you know a person stopped breeding
She should,
corgis?
she should never have bred them in the first place, but like the queens just do that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I
It's like-
love corgis.
Are we talking about Charles now? Is that what we're talking
Yeah.
about? I was like,
I wish you had a dog.
no, you just
Yeah.
have a mutant creation of some
So
Is
sort.
that on
there's-
the? I mean, not that I want to talk about like the end of your creation, or your not creation, your little button creature. But like, do you want a dog someday?
We'll see how long Mr. Fur, our cat,
Oh,
we'll see
yeah.
how long he sticks around.
You probably don't want to do that to him.
No, I would do that to him.
Exactly.
He, part of how we formed our relationship, or how I formed my relationship with Memphis the cat, is that I basically inherited him from a former roommate after we had already been roommates.
Yeah.
And I was living in a condo in West Sacramento and had to sublease a room, and that person brought a yappy little dog and two cats. And so they would pick on Memphis. So that's when I established in the master bedroom the sovereign nation of Memphis, Sylvania.
There you go.
Right, we had very strict border control laws. I moved his food in there.
That's
and
fair.
we're at
I respect
animals
that.
ever since.
I respect
Yep.
that. That's how I feel about Pop. Like, I'm not going to get another. I felt really bad about fostering a cat because I was worried, but she already knew him, so I thought it was going to be okay.
Aw.
And they are okay. But, like, I would
Yeah.
never bring another dog in the house because she would never recover.
Yeah. You know, I'd want a dog that was larger than Mr. Fur, and that wouldn't be a good.
But
Like,
for
right?
him, he doesn't like that. He's fine with Buttons being smaller than him.
Yes. Our Chihuahua is, well, she's 1/3 his weight. He's 15 pounds and she's 5.
Shit.
Yeah, so the Chihuahua is 1/3 of our cat.
So that's perfect for your cat.
Yeah, totally. So he's the.
He can handle that.
So if you want to talk about royalty, you know, his royal name is Fluffy P. Fluffington III.
That's a big one.
He is
It's a
the
long
sovereign ruler of the nation of Pennsylvania. It's like the Vatican in our house.
I love it.
Yes.
So
He sits
it's
atop
so cute.
Castle Fluffington and rules, which is on the larger Fluffingham Palace grounds
My goodness.
in the sovereign nation of Pennsylvania. I could talk about my cat forever. So the podcast has taken a weird turn.
It has. It's become.
my fault.
Let's talk about our pets.
But yes,
So happy.
that's nice to know about the Queen.
But you know what the
and-
pets and the Queen all would love? The new album from Ex Aegis.
Heck yeah,
Yes,
they
they
do.
do. Well, I was just
Everybody
gonna
in their
ma-
right mind would just
She
that's
does in Post
So I was just going to ask if you had heard it. So the Queen's got her pony,
Yep.
right? Have
Pony.
you heard
Yeah.
about its new TV show?
No,
It's My Royal Pony Incest is Magic. it's a real hit with the royals.
You know, it's gonna be really big in Appalachia too.
Yeah, it's going to be hit in
gotta
West
imagine.
Virginia.
Exactly.
So there's the joke that is going to put this episode.
I can see
at
that
rest.
winding up and a little gleam in your eye. I can see him winding that
He's
one
like,
up.
I
and
got
all
one.
right, here
I got it.
comes.
It's
Here it
happening.
comes.
Yeah, it couldn't just stay in there. It had to.
Okay, so to wrap
Yes.
up this episode, one thing I want to say is, are in for an awesome treat come this fall when that
Yeah.
album drops. We're gonna really, we'll have another podcast. Hopefully with Judith coming in, I'm sure we'll be able to talk her into it, and we'll have a
Yes.
little listening party. We'll play we'll actually play the whole record. We'll talk about each song, that whole thing, and then hopefully you guys will really dig what we're doing. We're very proud of it. I think you probably hear it in our voices that we think this is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yep.
the beginning of many more releases to come. But this is very exciting for
Yep.
all of us. So, you know.
Stoked.
So go ahead.
It
with
definitely brought the best out of everybody, and Judith, we could not have done you.
I'm super stoked about it, you guys. It was a blast, and I was honored. So.
Oh, that's so many warm feelings.
As are
so
we.
many
I
warm
can't.
feelings.
No, and honestly, like I know people are gonna like it, and I know it's gonna make people listen to more outside of their genre than they expected because it's gonna cross over to a lot of people. I just know it. I just know it.
Crossover appeal. I think
Exactly.
you hit the nail on the
Crossover
head.
appeal.
That's the plan. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast with Scott, Ryan, and today with Judith. We will have socials up shortly. Please make sure to rate and subscribe
Yep.
our podcast. Only 5-star reviews. I think that's the agreement. You
Yes, that is the
by
agreement, yes.
clicking on and listening to this podcast, you've agreed to only give 5-star reviews. So,
And of course, the best 5-star review you could give any of us is to sign up for vocal lessons with Judith Morgan.
Heyo, if I ever have enough space, and like humble brag about being
Yes,
well, if you can't do that, then you have to buy, I think, 7 copies of our
7
new record.
copies of the-
Yes.
That's the minimum. So that's if you can't do a 5-star review, that's the next thing.
that will
So-
just put you at the top of the waiting list.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining
maybe.
us. Ryan, last thoughts?
You guys rock. Thanks to all of our listener out there for tuning in.
All right.
And
Thank
we'll
you so
see you
much.
next time.
guys.
Peace.